She met Frank Brach as a hat check girl at the Indian Creek Country Club in Florida.
Helen Brach's life began on November 10th, 1911, on a humble farm in Unionport, Ohio. She wasn't an ordinary woman by any means. Her life appeared to be a fairy tale with all its glitz and glamour. But if we look closer, beneath the shimmering exterior, we find a web of hidden truths that would ultimately play a role in her shocking disappearance. Before we delve deeper into this true crime story, we kindly ask you subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts with us in the comments. Helen's life started just like the stories you read in romance novels. She got married to her high school love, but their love story didn't have the happy ending you might expect. Their journey took an unexpected turn, and by the time she was only 21 years old, they'd gone through a divorce. What Helen didn't realise back then was that her life was on the brink of a major and dramatic change. Destiny led her to Palm Beach, Florida, a place that had changed her life in remarkable ways. It was here that she crossed paths with Frank Brach, the heir to the E.J. Brach & Sons Candy Company. Their meeting marked the beginning of a beautiful love story, akin to the sweetness of the candles that Frank's family business was known for. As time passed, Helen and Frank's love continued to grow, reaching new heights. They decided to create a magnificent mansion on Fisher Island, Florida, a symbol of their enduring affection. Their life together was the very definition of opulence and luxury, surrounded by the finest things money could buy. However, little did they know that their seemingly perfect life was on the verge of being marred by deceit and betrayal. In the year 1970, a heart-wrenching tragedy befell Helen when her beloved husband Frank passed away. This devastating loss left her a widow, burdened by the heavy weight of grief for both her husband and the life they had meticulously constructed together. However, unbeknownst to Helen, this sorrowful moment marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life, and her journey was far from over. Let's move forward to February 17, 1977. On this fateful day, Helen had just completed a routine checkup at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. Following her medical appointment, she boarded a flight that was supposed to take her back to her stately mansion in Glenview, Illinois. Yet, what transpired from this point onward would propel her into the heart of a perplexing and eerie mystery, the depths of which were filled with darkness and uncertainty. The last time anyone saw Helen alive was near the Mayo Clinic. It was at this moment that a keen gift shop assistant overheard her speaking in a hurry, mentioning, "I'm in a hurry, my houseman is waiting." Little did anyone realise at the time that these words would mark the last time Helen Brach would be seen alive by anyone. The crew aboard the commercial airliner which Helen was meant to board reported a strange observation. They claimed not to have seen her on the flight at all. This unexpected discrepancy raised eyebrows and questions about her whereabouts. However, Helen's houseman and driver, Jack Matlick, stood firm in his account. He insisted that he had indeed collected her from O'Hare Airport and safely transported her back to her residence, dispelling doubts regarding her journey. The conflicting narratives surrounding Helen's disappearance added an extra layer of distress. Matlick's version of events further deepened the mystery. He recounted that Helen had spent 4 days at her mansion, during which, notably, she had made no telephone calls. He then mentioned that he had driven her to O'Hare Airport for her flight to Florida. However, these details left lingering questions about Matlick's account. Did he possess the complete truth, or was there more to the story concealed behind his words? The uncertainties surrounding his narrative added to the curiosity, leaving room for further inspection and investigation in the quest to uncover the truth behind Helen Brach's disappearance. As the investigation into Helen's baffling disappearance unfolded, Jack Matlick found himself at the centre of this case. He became the primary focus of the police inquiry. Despite this, he steadfastly maintained his innocence and vehemently denied any connection to Helen's vanishing. However, the cloud of suspicion hung heavily over Matlick. The law enforcement's persistent interest in his involvement cast a long-looming shadow of doubt and uncertainty. The puzzle deepened, and the mystery surrounding Helen's fate grew more intricate, with Matlick's role in it remaining a perplexing enigma. The investigation into Helen Brach's disappearance entered into another phase as it revealed a complex network of criminal activities involving prominent Chicago horse stable owners. Among these individuals were the enigmatic Silas Jane and the shrewd Richard Bailey. The question that emerged was, what role did they play in Helen Brach's sudden vanishing act? The discovery raised eyebrows and intensified the mystery as connections between these horse stable owners and Helen's disappearance began to surface. The unfolding narrative hinted at a deeper and more sinister layer of events, leaving investigators and the public eager to understand the extent of their involvement in this cold case. As the investigation progressed, something came to light involving Richard Bailey, the proprietor of Bailey Stables and Country Club Stables. It became increasingly clear that Bailey had a sinister and premeditated plan. His method of operation was disturbingly consistent. He deliberately focused on well-off women, typically in their middle age or older, who had little understanding of the horse business. What was even more concerning was that many of these women had recently become widows or gone through divorces. Back then, in 1975, a significant transaction occurred when Bailey's brother Paul sold 3 horses to Helen Brach. The transaction came at a staggering cost, with Helen paying a substantial $98,000 for the horses. However, what remained concealed from Helen was the fact that Richard Bailey had a direct involvement in this sale. As it later emerged, the true value of these horses was significantly lower than the exorbitant price Helen had handed over. This discovery exposed a deeply troubling scheme aimed at taking advantage of Helen's trust and financial resources. She had unwittingly become a victim of a cunning and deceitful plot. The intricate web of deception extended even further. In the early months of 1977, Richard Bailey orchestrated an elaborate presentation for Helen, aiming to convince her to invest a substantial sum of $150,000 in additional horses. However, this was where the plot thickened. Interestingly, the advice and assessments offered by Helen's own horse appraiser contradicted the recommendations provided by Bailey's associates. The conflict of guidance only added to the complexity of the situation, leaving Helen in a state of uncertainty and raising doubts about the true intentions behind the extensive showing organised by Bailey. It became increasingly clear that more than just a simple horse deal was at play. Bailey's true intentions, it turned out, were anything but virtuous. He faced a severe consequence for his actions. He was sentenced to a lengthy 30-year prison term, but it wasn't directly related to Helen's disappearance. Instead, he was convicted for defrauding her. What's noteworthy is that during the legal proceedings, the judge explicitly conveyed that Bailey's sentence was reflective of evidence pointing to his role in a broader conspiracy, one that involved the sinister plot to harm or potentially murder Helen. The conviction of Bailey brought forth a multitude of perplexing questions. did he hold the genuine responsibility for Helen Brach's mysterious disappearance, or was there a hidden layer to this story that had yet to be uncovered? Many years after Helen's puzzling disappearance, the investigation was reopened, uncovering fresh evidence of illicit activities involving Richard Bailey and his associates, including Silas Jane. Richard Bailey's destiny took a baffling twist. While he was not found guilty of Helen's murder, he did serve a 30-year sentence for defrauding her. Nonetheless, a cloud of suspicion persisted, leaving people to question his actual role in this disturbing story. In 2022, Richard Bailey released a book with the intriguing title Golden Tongue: The Innocent Man That Killed Her. In his book, Richard Bailey passionately proclaims his innocence, but the dark past continues to trouble him, adding another level of doubt to this cold case. So, what do you think happened to Helen Brach on the fateful night in 1977? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Thank you.